Well, today I feel like celebrating. My name's Sue Detweiler, and I have just taken us through 21 days of spiritual breakthrough. Woo! I'm so excited. I'm excited because God called me to do this and he led me in the with this. You may not know, but these 21 days go with a book that I wrote called Women Who Move Mountains. And so I pray that whatever mountain has been in your life, that these past 21 days have been a part of moving things out as you've really learned the basics and to value the power of prayer. Well, it's day 21, and we are talking about experiencing God's favor daily. So, as we conclude these 21 days, we stand at a threshold of an opportunity. It's a finish line that becomes a starting line for you to build these habits of prayer and character with a surrendered heart and witness breakthrough on a daily basis. So, today, as we're talking about favor, Jesus is our example. Jesus, who was God, think about it. He came, he humbled himself, he became obedient to his imperfect parents. And in fact, in Luke, it talks about that he learned obedience and he had favor with both God and man. Isn't that amazing that Jesus increased in favor with God and man while he walked on this earth? Favor doesn't mean that you won't experience opposition. Jesus walked in God's favor when he cleansed the temple and challenged the Pharisees, but the Pharisees and the Sadducees didn't like it. Sometimes, as you're walking in obedience to Jesus, you'll experience God's favor, but you may feel opposition. However, I do want to talk about the importance of favor with God and man because there are strategic things that you've been born to do and you're made for. And God will bring it about where there's favor with both. And it allows you to move forward in a double portion favor. So think about for a moment what happens when God's favor and man's favor meet. You might call it double portion favor, that you're thriving in God and man's blessing. Now, let me just pause and say, we're not talking about popularity. We're not talking about fame. We're not talking about being popular with everyone. What we're talking about is that there are profound relationships in your life that end up making a difference. And those powerful relationships, powerful in the sense that there's a divine connection, that when you find your people, you're able to fulfill your purpose. So there is an aspect of God's favor that is revealed in human relationships, right? So, as we walk through this, here are a couple things that can help us walk in this way. Number one, living righteously. Proverbs 3 and 4 says, "Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man." Living righteously impacts every relationship. Number two, seeking God's kingdom. We talked about this in the last few days, but as I was thinking about favor with God and man, there's this aspect of God's kingdom that is so important in the mix. And by the way, I'm not talking about working at a church or having a church job or a missionary job. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is that God's righteous rule and reign in your life should impact every area. And so, if you're going to walk in favor with God and man, then you need to have this understanding that part of your role is to bring heaven's reality to earth. How do we do that? We do that by seeking first God's kingdom. So again, Matthew 6:33, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added as well. So some of it is walking in the first priority. Number 3, walking in obedience. Luke 1:30 says, "But the angel said to her, 'Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God.'" Now think about what Mary did. At this point, when the angel came to her, she said, "Let it be done unto me as you have said." She came in agreement with the impossible of a life being formed in her body. She walked in obedience, and she walked this out, finding favor with God. Now, this is an example that her favor was primarily with God, but then there was also favor with Elizabeth that she went. And Elizabeth, remember, encouraged her and blessed her and validated and prophesied over her. So she had favor with God and man, but I want you to see that she didn't have favor with everybody. And that's what's difficult to define here. This is not popularity, but there is an aspect of the favor that Mary found with Elizabeth was important to the story of God's glory in her life. Number 4, demonstrating kindness. Proverbs 11:16 says, "A kind-hearted woman gains honor, but ruthless men gain only wealth." One thing I love about this passage is that there's an aspect of sometimes we can think that favor is having it all, and having it all is defined by worldly wealth or by what the world would want. But no, sometimes the reward of favor is the honor that comes with God. It's not about worldly aspect. Number 5, in walking in God's favor is trusting in God's plan. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." This was spoken at a time of great distress, of captivity, and yet God's plan was bigger. And God spoke hope even in a difficult situation. So as you walk humbly, God will build loyalty in your heart, and his favor becomes a guiding force in your life. Begin to recognize and appreciate the unique gifts and talents God's given you for his purposes. Well, I pray that you would walk with favor with God and man, that you would find your people and be able to fulfill your purpose. And I pray that as we've been walking through these 21 days, that this would be a launching pad, propelling you to future breakthroughs. That as we cross this finish line, that it would be a starting line for you to walk in unwavering faith, persistent prayer, and steadfast trust in God for your breakthroughs. May the breakthroughs that you and I have experienced these 21 days just begin a lifelong journey of adventure with God. God, I'm so grateful. I bless each and every person that has been a part of these 21 days. And they've come from around the globe. And even as this is going forth, I'm in the nations. So, Father, I bless each person. And I pray, God, that they would steadfastly walk with you with loyal hearts, with joy. And Lord, I pray that they would continue to walk in humility before you, knowing that as they humble themselves before you, you lift them up. I pray for great grace, great joy, and great delight as they walk through their day to day and as they make a difference in the lives of those around them. We would love to hear testimonies of how this impacted you. And feel free, if this has been a helpful step by step guide of how to learn to walk in prayer on a daily basis, please share this with others. If you have prayer requests, we love to hear from you because God is a God of prayer. So bless you in the name of Jesus.